Hey everybody, it's me. As you can see in the title, we have the soon to be crossed off. Which one is it? Which one is it? It's a book from the top 10 for 2017 list. Uh, yeah, I'm really excited about it. Before we get to that, though, I'll kind of show you. I was at Thirsty's Flea Market today. I had to pay for the table for the convention that's coming up at the end of the month. Ended up hanging out with Wally for quite a while and just chatting, which was great. Really nice guy. He actually, we'll start with this one, I guess. He's come. He obviously wanted to protect his source, which is completely understandable. But he's come across somebody in town who's got a gigantic underground comics collection and had a bunch to sell for him. Only had 4 books left this particular time, one of which I didn't have, and I'm very excited. It's not a double. I've never owned this comic, and it is Zap Comics #2. Yeah, really, really nice shape. $10, which is a damn good deal, I think, for a book that's in this nice condition. So I was reading a little bit about the printings on Comics Joint, and it's an interesting story for this one. There's S. Clay Wilson makes his debut in this issue, and one of his stories, which we'll get to here, needless to say, adults only. This story here, head first, in the first printing, it was misprinted. So I think the bottom half has been cut off, I think is what it said. So what they did was that first printing, they kept 500 for a show that was happening, like an art show that was happening, and they destroyed the rest of the copies. So actually in existence there's only like 500 copies of official first printings that also had a 50-cent price tag on them. Then they did, for a second printing, there was 2 variations of a second printing, one with a heavier cover stock and one with like a regular cover stock, that you can only determine the thickness by using like a set of calipers, like digital calipers, to actually measure the thickness of the paper. On Comics Joint, he was saying that the chances of getting one of the heavier cover stock ones are like 1 in 25. But that's really the only determining factor. For the second edition, for the second printing, they obviously made the correction of making sure that this story was printed properly on the page, but you can't go by feel, apparently, on the paper, which led to some problems. I think he was mentioning that some had been, was it PGX that had slabbed some books that they claimed were first editions, or first printings rather, when in fact that's not even the case. So all sorts of mistaken claims are out there about this book. Chances are, if you have a 50-cent cover, you have one of the thousands and thousands and thousands of books that they reprinted. They did a load of reprints for a second printing with the 50-cent price tag on the front. So I'm going under the assumption that I have one of those, not the heavier cover stock ones, because it feels regular to me. But again, they say you can't go by feel. You actually have to measure. Either way, very cool to have. Like I said, I've never owned a copy of this book, and it's in great shape. So yeah, he's got a connection here in town somewhere, and I'm wondering if it's the guy that I've talked to out of Steinbach. I wonder if it's him. Either way, I'm going to send Wally a list of some books that I'm looking for, and he's going to see what he can do. I'm also going to send him information of the doubles that I have to see if this mystery seller is interested in some of them. I chances are he's not. He's only selling doubles from his collection. And if what Wally says is true, he's got an enormous collection of underground comics. I'm very curious to know who it is. I'm gonna work on Wally over the next however long it takes. Work on him to get that connection, because that's a guy I'd love to meet and just talk to him about these books and when he was collecting them. I from the impression that I get, he's an older guy, so I think was getting a lot of the books at the time too. So I'd love to sit and chat with him and see what his story is. Anyway, Zap Comics #2, amazing book to have. The guy that I bought the 2017 book from also had a bunch of creepy and eerie and horror magazines. This one was $5, and I couldn't pass this one up with a Corben cover. Jaws of Death special issue number 101. September 1978. $5 is in really nice shape. Fantastic Corben cover. Really like this one. Who's it? Bruce Jones, I think, writes the story that Corben drew. Yeah, Bruce Jones, art Richard Corben, and color Rich Corben, which is hilarious because it's black and white. And then in the middle is a very cool color section. I love the colors in this. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram. Is it R Flag? I can't remember. He started. He has these Prismacolor pens, colored pens, or colored markers, or I'm not exactly sure what they are. And he started coloring his work. And this style of coloring in here really reminds me of what he's doing with his work. Very cool looking little story there. So yeah, really great looking book. A little bit of creasing on the back, but still, for $5, this sucker is pretty darn sharp. So I'm loving that one. So here we go. Let me move this one out of the way. Very, I can't believe I have this book in my collection now. It is in by no means fantastic shape, but as you're well aware, I don't care too much because I have it now, and that book is Daredevil issue 158. The first Frank Miller. You can see really well loved. Yeah, he was telling me that he also has issue 168. The other one that's on my list, the other one that I'm really looking for. But he's not willing to sell it yet. He's like, if I find an upgraded copy, I probably will sell it, so I'll let you know. He's working the convention as well too at the end of the month, but you just don't see these books like 158 and 168. I don't see anywhere. When I do see them, they're slabbed. They're at the C4 comic convention. They cost hundreds of dollars. I don't want them. This cost me $20, and I love it. It's fantastic. I'm gonna sit down after I finish chatting with you lovely people and flip through this gem and read this sucker. I'm really excited about it. So let's get the old list here. Let's get the marker and boom. Cross off Daredevil number 158. Oh, hell yeah. That's amazing. I love it. So one less book on the list and one less book for the Daredevil collection. Once I get 168, I think I'll have issue 133 all the way through to 300 complete. And as you well know, I'm probably just a little over a third of the way or something like that for the first 300. really putting a dent in those books. But yes, there we go. First book off the list. Let's look at that sucker again. $158. I've recently been just kind of browsing on eBay to see what's out there for this book. And there's a number of them online. There's some that are kind of in the $30 Canadian price range. But then you put on shipping on top of that, and it costs a little more because it's another 15 or 20 bucks shipping, plus those books that I have seen that were a little more cheap. They already have like 4 or 5 bids on them, so you just know that's going to skyrocket because for the most part, they're kind of out of reach, this book. But hell, I fucking got myself one. There you go, people. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll talk to you.